I was asked what coaches I like of the names I heard, and I named them. Sorry, I wasn't aware of their history. I didn't read the news when I was 7, 8 years old. I don't support those things, but if this is the route y'all want to come at me, say less. So, Acho, should Damian Lillard force his way out of Portland?
Yes, and yes. I had to come to the big board for this one. Dame Lillard will get out of Portland, and he should get out of Portland. Now, when I was playing football, I realized one thing. Grown man strength, it came either at 26 years of age or if you had a child, in my experience, whichever came first. I knew some strong 19-year-olds because they had kids. What does that got to do with Dame Lillard wanting out of Portland? Simple. Historically in the NBA, you either want to leave a destination you've been at the age of 31 or when you've been losing for 9 consecutive seasons, whichever comes first. Let's talk through the history lesson. We can start with the great big O, Oscar Robertson. Now remember, he played for the Cincinnati Royals, and then at the age of 31, he said, I got to bust a move. He went to the Bucks, won a title, keep it rolling. Beyond him, now you got some more modern day players. The dude, KG, the big ticket. He played first for the Timberwolves, then he said, I got to bust a move. He moves to the Celtics, wins the title. Talk about his teammates. Y'all know that dude. Ray Allen. He plays for the Bucks. He plays for the Supersonics. By the age of 31, he's like, I can't do it. My career is fading before my eyes. Gotta bust a move. He goes to the Celtics and win a title. Now remember, what comes first, the age of 31 or 9 seasons? Kevin Durant. He played 9 seasons, both for OKC, drafted to the Supersonics. By the time he hit them 9 seasons, he was like, hey, y'all, I'm tired of losing. Gotta bust a move. He goes to the Warriors. He wins his title. James Harden, we saw the fit he threw after 9 seasons in H-Town. He was like, nope. Somebody call up KD. Somebody call up Kyrie, because 9 seasons of losing is just too long. So why does that have to do with Dame? He's hit both of the iconic time frames at the same point in time. He turns 31 in July, and he's had 9 losing seasons with the Trailblazers. Historically speaking, when you hit that 9-season mark of losing or that age of 31, whichever comes first, you got to go. Dame just happened to hit them both at the exact same time. No Dame time. So to me, that means he's got to go, and he will go. Dame out of there, y'all.
Yeah, it is time for him to go right now. If you think about it, the model is shifting, and it's smart for Dame to go.
Get him out of there,
and you got me smart up there, too.
Get him out of there.
Yeah, at 26. Better you got them kids. Oh, boy.
It's one of the two.
It's a whole different man this came out of you, brother. I get it. The model's shifting right now, Acho, and this is why it's a beautiful time for Dame Lillard to go and take his talents elsewhere. Think about how LeBron James had to sit there in that YMCA and looked at Dusty, had a button down on because Jay-Z told everybody to stop wearing throwbacks, and he listened. If he would have suited up, people would have respected the decision more. Look at all Dusty in a button down. They like, man, ain't nobody trying to hear all that. Here's the thing. Where Dame Lillard sits right now, it's after the aftermath of super team after super team. Mm-hmm. So the resistance is not the same as it was of yesteryear. Let's talk about when the GMs used to make super teams just appear magically out the air. Everyone commended them and liked super teams. I used to watch a team full of Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Byron Scott. Like, they just kept going. Celtics as well. I digress. Now we're at this point of time, 2021, your Dame Dollar. Let me tell Dame what my grandma told me growing up, and I knew this. She said, baby, you know what stops people from succeeding? And I was like, nah, Grandma. And my grandma was not deep. She was straight in your face, shallow, skimming the surface, but right at you direct. She said, the reason most people don't succeed is because they're either scared or they dumb. And I was like, damn, Grandma, that ain't deep, but that's real. And she was like, most people stop short of what they really want to do because they're scared. And then the rest of them was just dumb. They ain't supposed to get there anyway. And I used to always think about that. I felt it was harsh, but I felt it just kept hitting bullseye after bullseye. In my failure moments, I started to realize, was I scared or was I not prepared for that? Dame and many others before Dame probably wanted to leave. They knew where their talent should be, but because they got sold the card of loyalty, they kept playing that same damn card, scared. Dame is not dumb because his game is too strong. He got an intelligent, genius kind of game that can translate anywhere. But I got to remind him, don't be scared, because the last 8 NBA champions have finished 3rd or better in the league in win percentage. Oh, but you with the Blazers, y'all haven't been better than 5th best. Okay. Let's go. 12 of the last 15 NBA champs have featured at least 2 All-Stars and you better get yourself somewhere where them all-stars continue. I love C.J. McCollum, small school guy, Patriot League, Ivy League. We kind of like brothers from another. But that ain't enough. It's just not going to be enough. They've tried to mix and match this formula so many different times. Dame, don't be scared, because I know you ain't dumb. Get yourself where you want to be. Time to bring in Fox NBA analyst Ric Bucher for more on this one. So, Slick, should Damian Lillard force his way out of Portland?
Hell no, he shouldn't force his way out of Portland, particularly not because of the Twitter trolls that may be suggesting that Chauncey Billups was a bad choice, or because of Chauncey Billups' history and Damien should have known better. That's giving social media and the trolls on it way too much influence.
It's true.
To your guys' point about should he leave because he needs to win a championship, again, I would say no, particularly in Damien's case, because the two teams that he would consider, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Utah Jazz, an argument can be made that they are no closer to winning a championship than the Blazers are. The Blazers have been to the playoffs 8 consecutive years in a row, and one of those years they went to the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers have been to the playoffs the last 2 years, thanks to LeBron James being there. How much time does he have left as a guy who can lead teams to playoffs, never mind to the championship? And the Utah Jazz, while they've been there 5 times in a row, they've never been out of the second round. So it's a matter of what does he want and what would cause him to leave. I love the whole setup that you had about 9 seasons and being 31 years old. That was really crafting a story about the similarities and why Damian Lillard fits in that camp. But the only things that put him in that camp are the fact that he's 31 years old and that he's played 9 seasons. Because every other iteration, every other characteristic of his situation does not fit Kevin Garnett leaving Minnesota, because he didn't want to leave Minnesota. He got traded to Boston. Ray Allen was a Seattle team that was rebuilding, so they were looking to move him in order to get draft picks and to get young. And so ultimately what Damien has is he has standing right now as the greatest, second greatest Portland Blazer of all time. Second only to Bill Walton. If he goes to the Lakers or the Jazz, he's not even the best point guard in team history.
Wait a minute.
So it's a matter of what are you looking for?
Wait a minute, Slick. Now you forgot a name in Clyde Drexler, who, must I remind you, was in Portland for, I want to say, 11 seasons, went to 7 consecutive All-Star games, 8 out of 9 seasons, and he was like, yo, I got to go. He goes to Houston and instantly wins the chip. Now, look, Slick, you can say maybe you... It's hard for me to fix my lips to say that Dame was better than Clyde, just if you look statistically of what they've both done in their careers in Portland. But even Clyde was like, I got to go. Rasheed Wallace, he was in Portland for, I believe it was 8 years. He left to Detroit, instantly won a chip. I also think, though, Slick, that 9-year mark. If you don't love my 31-year-old mark, look at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was in an eerily similar situation to Dame. At a minimum, we can draw those parallels. Their number 2, they wouldn't have, their number 2 was limited. At least the world would say they were limited. Russell Westbrook, C.J. McCollum. Number 2 was limited. They were close. Got close. Obviously, KD got closer than Dame did. Harden, you could make the comparison. Harden, his number 2s were limited. Russ, maybe you want to argue CP if you want to throw him in there for that year or so. And Harden was like, it's been 9 years, man. I got to go. I think Dame is gone, but even going back to Sel's point, and I'm done on my second lap, Sel talked about the fear. And I recently heard this quote. People make changes once the pain of the moment is greater than the fear of the unknown. That's when somebody finally makes a change. And I think Dame's pain of the moment, losing, is finally going to be greater than his fear of the future. And I think that's why Dame gonna go.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. I'm not saying that the forces that may prompt Damian Lillard at this point in his career to say, you know what, I'm going to give something else a shot. I'm just looking again based on what he has said, his first and second options are, which are the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Lakers, if it's about, I want to go someplace to win a ring, if it's the Lakers, and I would say that that's probably the better option between the two in terms of the fit. He gives them exactly what they need, which is a shooter closer at the end of games. That is the element that they were missing, being 24th in offensive rating this year. But that said, you're putting all of your eggs in the we're going to win one next year, because I'm not betting on LeBron James beyond that. And you yourself have said it, Acho. Like, I wouldn't bet on Anthony Davis's health at all. So it's a matter of, what am I sacrificing and leaving Portland? And if I'm sacrificing all of that, which is a tremendous amount, am I going to get what I'm leaving for, which is a ring? And if I don't get it as a Laker next year, then I'm not sure that I ever get it. And now you've lost everything that you built in Portland, and now you're just another Laker who wasn't quite good enough to get it done.
Man, this story has got legs. It's getting more intriguing by the day, by the second. Slick, I think you need to flip this around. One of my superpowers is I always think from the perspective of my opponent first, because I already know what I think. So I could go over there first and do a lot more of my homework over there. You keep saying L.A. Why go to L.A.? I don't think it's always a proposition to the individual, I must win in L.A. as much as I can lose anywhere, so why not lose in L.A.? Think about it. How many times you made decisions like, it ain't about I could get higher, it's just I can stay at this level anywhere. Why not go somewhere better? That was kind of the Miami Heat's thought process, one of the slices of why they chose Miami collectively. It's just like, well, if we're going to just struggle, let's struggle there and then figure this out. But they obviously added it up to 2 championships in 4 years. Let's talk about why, Dame, you can't be scared. And I know you're not, big dog, because we and you have communication, and I just watch you play, and I know that you ain't scared. But sometimes the persona could be scared, even though the individual and his character fears nothing. And that persona is dealing with fan backlash or what it's going to do to your legacy. And look, you got so many endorsements and brands and connections to sponsors. I get you got a lot more on your plate than the average Joe. But let me tell you what's on the plate of those organizations, those sneaky organizations, especially in the NBA. When they sign them a great player at the NBA draft, they sit there quietly and whisper, hey, you know we got them locked up for 7 years. Why? Because they got you on your NBA draft deal, and if you're a beast, they know they're going to sign you to a max deal early, and then that's going to take you to 7 years minimum. Think about it, LeBron and all those guys. That's why I support Acho and the big board and what he showed. Then after that, they start getting into the whole loyalty and look what you've built in terms of legacy if you're struggling. If you're winning, they ain't got to say anything. They just keep giving you max deals till you get to your bird rights and you get a super max. They know how the game goes. This is really simplistic, but the players don't understand how they're getting railroaded and played in these situations. So then you get the 7-year line of demarcation, franchises giggling at you, selling you more loyalty, knowing that it's never going to come to fruition, but keep lining our pockets, and you're sitting there stuck. And then finally you realize they were selling you loyalty about your legacy when your legacy could have took the biggest bump if you would have went somewhere. So go through that force field of fear. Dame Lillard and join my Clippers.